The state pension, a mistake that nearly half of UK retirees are making. If you're planning to retire in the UK, there's a real chance you're losing money every single year. And you're not going to realise it until it's too late. Most people assume their state pension is sorted. They paid in, they assume it all adds up. But according to government-backed data, nearly half the people receiving the new state pension aren't getting the full amount. Not because they didn't work hard enough, because they never checked. And if you're like most people I speak to, this probably isn't something that you've checked in years, if ever. The assumption is simple. I've worked my whole life. Of course I'll get the full amount. But that's not always how it works. Let me put this into perspective, because the numbers are more significant than most people realise. From April 2026, the full new state pension is expected to be around £241 a week, which is roughly £12,500 a year. That might sound like a background income, but if you wanted to generate a similar guaranteed inflation-linked income privately, it would require a fund of several £100,000. And this is one of the most overlooked but most valuable parts of retirement planning. You already have access to it, or at least you should. So why do so many people end up receiving less? Well, because they trust the system to keep up with them. They paid national insurance, they've worked for years, they assume everything is correct. But there are gaps that most people never see coming. Periods of self-employment, time spent caring for children or elderly relatives, maybe working abroad. And if you're a company director or a business owner who structured your income through dividends rather than salary, then your national insurance record may have gaps you're completely unaware of. And for many people, there are, years where they were contracted out through workplace pension schemes before 2016. On paper, it can look like you've built up the years, but in reality, the amount you receive may be lower than expected. And this is where most people get caught out. Nobody sends you a letter saying you're short. There's no alert, no warning. You only find out when the payments start, and sometimes that surprise isn't a good one. Let's make this real. Each missing qualifying year could reduce your state pension by roughly £350 a year. Every year for life. 3 missing years? That's over £1,000 a year less. 5 missing years over a 20-year retirement, that could mean losing more than £35,000 in total income. And in some cases, you may be able to fill those gaps. Voluntary national insurance contributions currently cost just over £900 for a full year, depending on the tax year, which means the cost can often be recovered within a few years. After that, it becomes additional income for the rest of your retirement. So here's the most important step. Go to gov.uk and search Check Your State Pension. Log in using your government gateway account or set one up. It takes about 10 minutes. But when you're in, you'll see your state pension forecast, your national insurance record, and any gaps, including whether you may be able to fill them. Now, this isn't financial advice. It's simply one of the most straightforward financial checks available, and it costs nothing but a few minutes of your time. There are important considerations. There are deadlines for filling gaps. There are tax implications, and whether it's appropriate for your individual circumstances. Those are the kinds of things worth discussing with a qualified financial advisor. But step one is simple. Know where you stand. The state pension isn't complicated, but it is often overlooked. And for many people, that oversight can quietly cost thousands over the course of their retirement. Not because of bad decisions, not because of bad luck, simply because they never looked. If this has made you think differently about your retirement income, you may find the rest of the content on this channel useful, where we break down those topics into practical real-world terms. This video is for information only, and it doesn't constitute financial advice. Individual circumstances will vary, and professional advice should be sought where appropriate. I'm Stephen Pitcher, Senior Partner at St James's Place.